You're listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.
Only 5.3% of Korea's 9,573 export-active venture firms currently reach the Middle East. And a ceasefire just changed that equation. It's Friday, July 3rd. Let's look at what this means for startups and entrepreneurs in Korea. Today, our mission is to do a tactical deep dive into the shifting geographic and, architectural frontiers of Korea's tech exports.
Yeah, the geographic trigger is exactly where we need to start. Because what's really fascinating here is how geopolitics can, instantly reactivate a completely frozen market.
Right, like flipping a switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the June 17th U.S.-Iran ceasefire just unlocked a $10 million, which is roughly 15 billion KRW drone contract for a Korean company called Nerislab.
Wow, 10 million. That's massive.
Yeah, and that deal had been entirely frozen by regional instability. But the ceasefire was the trigger that just, brought it right back to life.
It's honestly like a dam bursting for the other 94.7% of Korean tech companies that are currently operating with zero Middle East footprint.
It really is. But to actually capitalize on this, you have to look beyond just exporting hardware like drones. If you want to export software into these regions, you have to understand the local infrastructure demands.
Meaning what, exactly? Like regulatory stuff?
Sort of. Gulf governments, very much like European regulators, are demanding sovereign AI.
Ah, sovereign AI. Right.
Yeah, which means strict on-premise data control. They absolutely do not want their sensitive government or, enterprise data processed in some US-based cloud.
So if you're building software in Seoul right now, you can't just throw it on the cloud anymore. You have to build it so it lives entirely on your client's local servers.
Precisely. And Korean companies are actually adapting their architecture to meet this. Take Hancom's recent pivot to an Agentic OS, for example.
Okay, an Agentic OS.
Right. So instead of an AI that just answers questions like a standard chatbot, an agentic operating system actually takes actions on your behalf, locally and securely. Yeah, and because of this architectural shift, Hancom saw their AI revenue jump to 11.52% of total sales. That's 5.2 billion KRW, or 3.7 million USD, in just the first quarter of 2026 alone.
Wait, let me challenge that for a second because, every company is slapping AI on their pitch decks right now just to impress investors.
Oh, for sure. They definitely are.
So how do we know Hancom's pivot isn't just a trendy rebrand to inflate those Q1 numbers? Are there actual institutional budgets behind this?
Well, it's a completely fair question, but the traction is very real. We are seeing major structural investments. Like KB Cookman Bank just launched a dedicated AI-native development center to build out these exact on-premise capabilities.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the banks are in.
Exactly. Furthermore, Hancom isn't just talking. They are entering a business-to-government beta in the second half of 2026, specifically targeting Poland and Europe.
Okay, so the demand for localized sovereign AI software is clearly there. But if everything has to be installed locally on a client's servers, how do you actually deploy that without, a massive team?
Well, that is the crucial bottleneck. And it's colliding with a massive trend, which is global compute commoditization. AWS just committed $1 billion USD, roughly 1.54 trillion KRW, to literally embed their engineers directly inside client teams.
Wait, actually putting Amazon engineers physically inside the client's office?
Yes, exactly. They are doing this because deploying AI is no longer just a simple plug-and-play software update.
Right, it's way more complicated now.
Yeah, the hurdle isn't how smart the AI model is anymore. It's physically wiring that AI into a company's messy legacy data systems. And that takes human hands on the keyboard on-site.
Wow, so they're just throwing raw manpower at the deployment problem.
Pretty much. By embedding engineers, AWS is slashing AI deployment timelines from months down to just days.
That's wild. But with deployment becoming the real bottleneck, it seems like the raw computing power itself is changing too. With CME Group launching compute futures and Meta actively leasing out their surplus A100 GPUs, are we seeing computing capacity transition into a tradable commodity market, kind of like wheat or oil?
That raises a vital point.
Yeah.
Yes, compute is absolutely commoditizing.
So if I'm a Korean tech founder or VC listening to this, and I'm watching compute become a tradable commodity while these new geographic doors open, where should I be placing my bets?
Well, let's go back to that opening number. Only 5.3% of Korean export ventures reach the Middle East. For founders in drone tech, AI infrastructure, or energy services, the June 17th ceasefire is your immediate entry trigger.
Right, the door's open.
Exactly. Simultaneously, founders who can deliver on-premise agentic infrastructure now have a validated procurement channel. Korea's regulated sectors are procuring sovereign AI tooling at scale right now.
And what about the compute side of things?
Well, as compute commoditizes and giants like AWS embed engineers directly inside enterprise teams, the competitive advantage for AI founders is shifting entirely. It's moving away from model capability and straight toward deployment speed and workflow integration.
A final thought for you to explore as you map out your next move. Keep a close eye on the upcoming Tax Accountant Act consultative body. They are currently setting regulatory precedents for AI platform governance across professional services here in Korea. And remember to watch CME's Compute Futures, which will soon set market-derived USD and KRW benchmarks for your GPU costs. That's today's AI PRISM, Founders. This deep dive was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily Reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI PRISM is a IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow, #CoSPI.
You've been listening to AI PRISM from Seoul Economic Daily.